Hey, so I'm gonna be reviewing the next installment in the Halloween franchise, which is Halloween Resurrection, this is the last movie in the original Halloween franchise. Now, this one is regarded as the worst Halloween movie, probably one of the worst. A lot of people, well, probably the first worst one behind probably 5 and 6. Um, the movie is about a group of people who are in this are doing a web series called Dangertainment, which is led by Busta Rhymes and Tara Reid or Tyra Banks. I mean, and what it is basically they're doing a live stream, like a reality show in the Myers house to prove that if it's haunted or not. So it was kind of like Ghost Hunters, but I'm not sure Ghost Hunters came out around this time. But basically, that's what it is. But it's on the internet, and which I thought that the concept was interesting since this was the early 2000s. This movie came out in 2002, so the internet wasn't that big of a thing back then. It was just starting to get to pick up traction. So I thought, well, that's pretty interesting, like a live stream, a movie based about a live stream in the Myers house, and people will be watching on their computers, and they can text each other. And because there's one character in the movie who's the final girl, but there's a guy she talks to online, and all they do is message each other. Isn't it? It's kind of like AOL, back, something like that, Yahoo or something. They just they don't see, it's not like Facebook, but it's like they just message each other. They never seen each other in person, and he's like, "Well, I'll go watch you whenever you start streaming. I'm gonna watch the program and see what goes on." And because there's a separate story going on where, well, let me get into the main plot. So, like I said, they're trying to film this reality TV show in the Myers house. Of course, when they get there, Michael Myers comes back and starts killing them. Uh, like I said, there's a side plot going on with that character. He goes to a Halloween party and he goes into a separate room and where he's on a computer and he starts seeing like all the murders that are happening in the house, and him and the final girl, or the main girl who's gonna be the final girl, I don't know her name, they start messaging each other and he's telling her like where to go and stuff to avoid Michael in the house. So I thought that was a pretty cool concept, the idea of a reality show in on the internet. That was pretty cool because I think that reality shows were kind of getting big at that time. Like I said, the internet was starting to get big, and texting was a new thing too. So I thought that was pretty interesting. Um, then like how it starts off the movie, actually it explains like what happened after the end of Halloween H2O, where after Laurie cut Michael's head off, you think he's dead, but no, actually Michael, whenever everything was going down in the house, Michael, like, I guess fell off some of the stairs somewhere, and he was laying on the ground, and a paramedic came in, and uh Michael grabs him around the neck and crushes his vocal cords so he can't talk. Then he takes his clothes and stuff and then puts the mask on top of puts the mask over the guy, and then it's actually the guy, the paramedic, that Laurie killed. So now Laurie's in a, which is fucking stupid, but so now Laurie's in a mental institution, and Michael's coming back for her, and there's this weird character at the beginning who's like obsessed with serial killers, and he's in the mental institution. He's an older guy. He wears like a clown mask, and all he does is talk about serial killer bios and stuff. And like, Michael Myers like captures Laurie and kills her, and like they're hanging off the rooftop of the hospital. And then, Laurie kisses him. She said, "I'll see you in hell." And then Michael lets her go, and she falls off the balcony or off the roof. And I was like, that's so stupid, man. But I think Jamie Lee Curtis wanted to die, wanted her character to die off after that, because the series just kept going on. But yeah, but he gives the knife to the guy that's like obsessed with serial killers, and then it goes into the the film crew. Now this movie is not like the other ones in the series. This more is like a straight up slasher film, like literally a straight up slasher film. It kills off Laurie. It doesn't. So now Michael basically is not following anyone in his family. He has no motive. So he just targets these bunch of these stupid ass people at his house doing a reality TV show, and he starts killing them off one by one. And all these characters are unlikable, besides like one guy who's like a culinary guy, and he's like obsessed with cooking, and then the final girl. That's it. They're all like annoying. Uh, they all do stereotypical things that gets them killed. But I mean, some of the death scenes are pretty cool. There's one with a guy who was setting. He's a cameraman. He went to the house before everyone got there, and he was setting up cameras. And he got stabbed in the neck by a tripod, and he's like, there's like a little thing on the tripod. Got stabbed in the neck, and then Michael drags him off and puts him in a closet. But that's not good death. But some of the deaths were pretty good. There's like a couple in the basement, cause like Busta Rhymes and Tara Banks' character are kind of like con artists. They're trying to they set up props in the house to scare the people off, to scare the people, to get more ratings. So they're like in the basement, and they set up like these spikes and these weird dolls and stuff. And there's a couple trying to have sex in there. That of course Michael comes down, and he takes the woman, and like he pushes her against the spikes, and she pops out. Pops out of her chest. One guy, he's looking in the mirror, and there's like a two-way mirror, and he's looking in it, and Michael busts through, stabs him right in the head, top of the head, like that. There's a female character, she's kind of like the slutty one, and she gets her head cut off, and like there's like a bunch of the people standing down the stairs, and like her head, he chops her head off, and it rolls down the stairs, and it freaks them out. They thought that was a prop, but it was, they found out it was real. And then one character, the black guy, he's like obsessed with cooking and stuff. He's in the kitchen, and Michael comes in, and he starts throwing herbs on him and stuff. And then he grabs like these butcher knives and starts like trying to chop Michael up. And then Michael grabs him, pushes him up against the wall, and it's kind of like a rendition of the Bob's death scene from the first movie. Except it's like 3 knives, and Michael stabs him and pins him up against the wall. Then there's like a rendition of or homage to the death scene from the second movie where the nurse is bled out. They did it with the Tyra Banks character in this movie. Because it's directed by the same Rick Rosenthal who directed the second movie. And of course, this movie, a major flaw with this movie, besides the explanation for how Michael survived at the end of H2O, and that Laurie's killed off in the beginning, and that is Busta Rhymes. He is so fucking annoying in this movie. And that's all I really remember from this movie is his lines. And I only seen this movie a few times, and I've seen this. I seen this movie when I was a kid. I was at someone's house, and they were having a Halloween party, and they put this movie on, and I watched this thing, and I was like, oh my god, this is horrible. Even as a kid, I didn't like it, and so they're they're so Busta Rhymes and I guess Busta Rhymes Tyler Banks' character are like setting up props and stuff to scare the participants, to boost ratings. So Busta Rhymes dresses up as Michael Myers. Like, he actually has like the same mask, the same jumper and all that. And he's walking around the house scaring people. And then the real Michael Myers walks up behind him, and he goes, Busta Rhymes is like, whoa, man. He's like, I'm trying to do business here. He's like, you're gonna F up my flow or something like that. He's like, no, get out of my face or whatever. And I was surprised like Michael didn't stab him or anything, because Michael has like a bad temper, And then so and then there's an there's that scene, and then of course there's the famous scene at the ending where it's like the final battle, and Busta Rhymes and Michael Myers are fighting, and the house is burning down and stuff. And Busta Rhymes starts kung fu fighting Michael Myers, and it's like the most funniest shit I ever seen in my life. And I was just like, oh my god. And it's like, and then he's fighting, he's like, oh, beat you, bitch. And then he's fighting him, he goes, trick or treat, motherfucker, and just kicks him and shit. I was like, oh my god, this is horrible. I was just, I mean, yeah, it's like, this was definitely a low point in the series, and I'm so glad they stopped at this movie. And like I said, I don't want to review the remake and the sequel to the remake, because I just want to review the original franchise, the original series or franchise. But I can review them if you want me to. But after that, I was just like, oh my god, that's fucking horrible. And I can see why they were gonna reboot the series, but I'm not gonna get into the Rob Zombie movies anytime soon. That's all I'm gonna say. But anyways, yeah, I would not recommend it to anyone. I would only recommend it, like, as if you're like watching the series and you're a completist and you gotta watch all the movies. Yeah, then I recommend it. Like I said, it has nothing to do with the other ones. It has no continuity. They kill off Laurie, and then basically he's just killing off as like a typical slash movie. He's just killing off a bunch of dumb people in a house. But yeah, like, they should have just ended it at H2O, and then it would have been fine. But anyways, that's my review.